Well, hello there, fellow Arcadian friends. Chris Marcus with you here on a beautiful Tuesday, September 24th at 11 double, as they used to say, for 55 on the trading floor. Never heard an exact answer of why, although fortunately I'm wearing, thanks to Bobby Hunter Riley, my blue blocker glasses, which block some of the EMF frequencies that come from the computer. That's what Yara looks like using her chilaquiles. Yes, she has made it down to Mexico for the upcoming summit, Council of 14 at Silverfest 2, only a month away, even if the location's still a little bit of a secret. But fortunately, to get some of those details in place, Arcadia is hiring. And if you'd like to apply, then just do something impressive and tactful. But with that said, we're going to keep this one short. Quick check on the markets now that Janet Yellen's Treasury September 15th date, where it appears like the tapering, well, that the stolen deep state money ran out, which I think is at least possible. I can't say for sure that that's when the Fed began tapering. Here they're saying the Fed likely will wait until November for a taper announcement. We can dig into that one if you want. I'm trying to keep this quick. But just based on the headline, likely means there's a chance. We don't know what the tail risk is, and sometimes you can find mispricings in the tail risk options. You can look at the Dow is back up 100 points as it attempts to rebound from sell-off. When I take a deep breath, let that sink in. Think about the Yara, how would you describe Joe Biden's press conference comments this morning where he used the phrases code red and a whole bunch of other vivid imagery? We'll get a check back in from Yara before this video is done, I'm sure. But let's see, it's back up 100 points as it attempts to rebound. Will it be successful in the rebound? You could hear some CNBC market experts, but I will save you the time and give you the Arcadian version. You can decide which one to believe. Asian markets were stable overnight, helping sentiment in the U.S. after fears grew on Monday that liquidity crisis at Chinese developer Evergrande would lead to a global contagion. So overnight, they were stable. Now, I read on Zero Hedge last week that the key date to watch out for was September 20th, which is yesterday, because that could be when they stop paying the bonds. You never know who's getting the information first, on what timing. So here it seems like the market's really digesting this because there's already been a sharp bounce off of Monday's intraday low. Seems like the volatility is picking up. Energy stocks bounced as oil. So there you go. Volatility is picking up in oil and energy, even though the CPI doesn't count that. Like I've been saying for years, there's always an indicator if you know where to look. Of course, the Fed will release its quarterly economic forecast, the so-called dot plot. I'm not sure I've heard of that before consciously, along with the statement on interest rates at 2 p.m. Eastern Wednesday. Powell will have a press conference after the announcements. Well, Yara, now that we're here learning body language and Espanol, it'll be interesting to digest that. I don't know if they're talking about what he said last Wednesday, or I don't know how CNBC also knows. Here they sound more certain will release quarterly forecasts. I wonder if any of them got access to that. We know that some Fed governors apparently were selling tech stocks like Apple, Disney, all those ones that were so-called blue chippers of the NASDAQ. Now, we don't know the latest update, or I don't. I've not been told that. But I'd keep an eye on that. And because September, according to CNBC, is historically volatile months for stocks. Now, you know, I've been watching the VIX because I wanted to look at the volatility level of the Johnson & Johnson puts this morning. Johnson & Johnson, because they said on Tuesday that its vaccine booster shot is 94% effective. Let's take a quick look at that. Make sure we get the language correct. 94% effective. Well, there's, like usual, there's some small print. When administered 2 months after the first dose in the United States. So it seems like 6% of the time it's possible that if you've had it before 2 months, which I don't know if anybody has, maybe Joe Biden has been given some of those, which would explain his comments, as unfortunate yet healing as that may be. Because the Biden administration announced plans last month to roll out booster shots for people who receive the Moderna and Pfizer. I'm buying puts on those as protection against anything Moderna and Pfizer. It's like the inverse. I've been telling you. Schumer calls on Biden to cancel 50,000 in student debt for all. Can't imagine if that's related to the U.S. Treasury or some of the debt ceiling. Let's see, do we have anything on the front page about the debt ceiling? Because I would imagine if you're trying to start steamroll people again, this is the same way why was check. All right, let's check the VIX. We're talking. Let's look at some of these volatility indicators, which could be perhaps what even the option traders look at. I don't know if the Fed has any option traders, but here, C is down. VIX is down 8% today. It was up quite a bit yesterday. And there was a pattern I wanted you to see, but it just wasn't the right time. Although you already said last night was a full moon or something. So maybe if this baby gets loaded, we will see. Okay, so let's take a look at the 1 month. All right, so a month ago, this was at 16. Now it's at 23, but it's down 8.25%. So one could say that's volatile. How would you measure that? There's a variety of ways. Let's get the 5-day chart. Here you see just a couple of days ago at 17.68, then as high as 28, then selling at 23. That's pretty volatile. Let's look at how it looks on the 1 day, a bit choppier there. So here on the 1 day, I can see, I wonder if the VIX, which is the VIX of the VIX, measuring the volatility of the VIX, would shed any light on this. Ooh, it's interesting. The VIX is also down. So I guess over the right time period, you could say that volatility is settled in. Again, these are forward or past looking indicators. Make your own decisions, as I'm sure Ross the Boss would advocate. Let's see the 1 day chart on the VIX, see if that's showing anything of what federal insiders like Goldman Sachs, Federal Reserve insiders from former Goldman Sachs could be, how we could actually check without them not, it'd be like turning the inverse tables where you're always being monitored by companies like Apple and Amazon. So if we flip the tables, all right, so here's the 5 day on the VIX of the VIX. We see it's pretty steady for a while, and then it jumped up and then down abruptly. They actually offer call and put options on this, Yara, for months out. It's like Fantasia option trading. Let's look at the 1 day, see if that looks a little bit volatile. And Yara, see, look what, if you back out, back in 2011, let's see, all right, looks like leading up to the debt ceiling in 2011, it got as high as, what's that number there?
45,808.
So 45,000. Now, of course, if you wanted to look at a short-term vol of vol, UVIX, there's more too. It's like they have, Yara, it really, UVIXy, I believe it is. Yara, it really is like that scene in The Big Short,
Yeah,
where they show now they're making derivative bets. So then you get this, the Ultra, these are all ProShares indexes. Now you could call BlackRock, ask for questions. Maybe you'll get more answers than I did regarding their iShares. Although I actually did find the vol of the iShares index too. It's called AGQ. I just buy the underlying or maybe some call options, but I do have some experience, so not for the kids at home. So look at this thing, Yara, because here over the past month, it's at 2666, very Book of Revelationist number right now as we're recording, ironically enough. Now, this is the high point. This is the short term. ProShares Ultra means leverage. VIX short-term futures ETF. So good luck shorting something like this, BlackRock, or selling the options. Susquehanna, I wonder who I'm buying those options from. But again, we'll stay appropriate for Ross the Boss so you can be happy. So Yara, it looks like it spiked recently, but if you go back on the 3-month chart, you see even August 18th, it was even higher. Now, we also looked at those Fed reverse repo things last night and saw that, ironically enough, all of the top scores, it's like if they were playing Super Mario Brothers, all seem to be in the last month. So here you look at, got up to 31. Let's take a 6-month perspective. There it got up to 60. I'll bet these options, I'll bet even BlackRock and JP Morgan, they would be wise to be figuring out how to price these, because here, what's that level it gets up to? What did it close at?
730.
30 what?
Million.
Nomenclature, please. But although, what did it open at?
At 2.43 billion.
So it went anywhere from, what was the low of the day?
730 million.
The low of the day, please. Thank you.
The low of the day was 610 million.
Okay, so I can't even, I'll see if Nibbles knows how to calculate the option math on that. But here you can see even back in the beginning of February, right there, it went up to what?
It went up to 124.5.
What else happened in the beginning of February?
Nibbles!
I just turned the Arcadia economics business into control of this woman. You don't remember what happened at the beginning of February of 2021?
Oh, the silver squeeze.
Oh, maybe should we replay that video of Elliot explaining the recap of the silver squeeze, since we are hiring, looking for new hosts. Also, bass, drums, and keys. Although I'm thinking about Silverfest, we're going to want to ban, maybe, we'll see, but we'll stay focused for now. Wrap this baby up. So anyway, for most people, trading options on this is highly inappropriate. I don't even know if Ross the boss would be qualified to do that. Anyway, let's take a look at the debt ceiling before we wrap up. Maybe there's something in this one. Fed will likely wait. Why would they do that? Could that be connected to the debt ceiling, or the federal insiders selling stocks before they were tapering, especially those juiced up tech shares? Outlook for GDP. Let's see. Debt ceiling, debt. Where's the debt ceiling? We'll go into their search window. Subconscious mind can't not think about the big silver elephant in the room. So you'll notice the way things are presented can draw the subconscious mind. That's how subliminals work. And there we go. What the federal debt ceiling showdown. Now, I thought it was fait accompli, but here it sounds like a showdown. Janet Yellen said it could be catastrophic even if you had the possibility of debate or even the thought of it. Maybe that's what the VIX and the VIXy and the UVIXy are picking up. It's like in those movies where someone's robbing the bank, but they have the lasers. If you spray the stuff, it doesn't set the lasers off, but you can see it there. There's always like the canary in the coal mine, the dog in the silver playa. If lawmakers can't reach a deal, it will increase borrowing costs. So interest rates could go up, delay Social Security. So if this were all pre-planned, and I was correct in my assertion that when I saw that story last Wednesday, the same September 15th date where Janet Yellen had asserted that is when their extraordinary fraudulent measures were going to run out. And all of a sudden she had that bizarre, unusual press conference with Kamala Harris. They were talking about the children and how they needed more resources. So the government, same government that's advocating vaccines, and Joe Biden talking about code red and crimes against humanity. These same people are saying they need to take more money because it's already spent, which means they're over the debt ceiling. And then you saw that same day federal stimulus measures reduced. Sounds like stimulus was reduced. I'm waiting, I believe tomorrow. I've been checking the Fed's website to see if their balance sheet actually went down, but the last date of data is September 15th. Maybe Jerome Powell, somebody could ask him about that at the press conference. If the new numbers are out and we can see, maybe the Fed, maybe after they sold off their personal holdings, I mean, maybe they were counting that as part of the balance sheet. Now that, I don't know, maybe they already started tapering. It's unclear, but we will await Jerome's press conference, 2 o'clock. Find out if the Fed's going to continue tapering or wait till November. Fortunately, I know there's a lot I just threw at you here, so feel free to watch this once, twice, or 3 times. That's the number that Joe and the Fellows Advocate. And again, I will take the glasses off. It's a little bright on the screen, but just to let you know, this is the real Chris Marcus. Even though I have some graying hairs, it's been a interesting 20-year stint in Wall Street. But fortunately, as I mentioned yesterday, we do have BlackRock Silver run by Andrew Pollard, who I believe will be able to check in because they had this news. BlackRock Silver advances district scale targets on the newly staked Tonopah North property. Obviously, for some who are new to silver and the potential virtues over sound or unsound paper fiat, this could be complex. Yara, I think we've lined up a good internet location, so hopefully we'll be able to do that live with video, but at least I will check in with him at the very least by phone. Hopefully we'll have some hired assistants as well soon. But with that said, I thank you for being here. Yara, do you have any comments for your fans now that you're here in the silver capital of perhaps the galaxy?
I love silver in Mexico, and nibbles and chili killies and being with all the Arcadians. And I can't wait to spend time with you all at Silverfest in the lovely land of Arcadia.
We're going to have that landing page up very soon, today or this week, Yara, right? Correct. Who knows?
Yes. Make sure you're on the mailing list at arcadiaeconomics.com to get all of the most up-to-date information.
And how do they see that? Hold on.
They can go to arcadiaeconomics.com.
Right, I will pull it up so that the learning can sink in on a variety of little. Yara, I thought you run a silver channel. You didn't even talk about the silver price, which looks like it's up a bit today. Maybe you should check some of your option positions.
I was checking the sunrise.
Before we read this, Department of the Treasury of Economics of Child Care Supply. I wonder if they're, I don't know, maybe they have some, don't have silver. This was passed out. God knows only what they stuck in this. Reminds me of that press conference. I wonder if the date is the 15th. A lot of footnotes. I can't imagine how long this was written in advance with all of that. So there you go. That's why I left Wall Street 2012. Thought this stuff was important that people could see. So if that, in advance of the Justice Department, who I believe is doing those RICO charges against JP Morgan and Michael Novak, it's hard to know if you haven't sat on one of these trading desks, the way some of the media headlines are used to manipulate things, or at least create certain perceptions. My eyes are, Yara, put your glasses on, because as you know, there are EMF frequencies that come from the screen. So anyway, that is today's lunchtime primer. Nibbles, do you have any comments for your fans? You want to eat the rest of that food, don't you, boy? I love you so much. All right, fellas, have a great afternoon, and might have another update or three later.